Hello. Yeah, all the games are postponed almost, besides the Dallas Wild game. And let's hope that after the off season, we get everybody back in the lineup. They get this COVID situation is that everybody follows whatever they're saying. Mercer, how you doing? And keep distance, all of those sort of things like that, because we don't want this virus to get strong. It's weak now, but they get stronger the more people, the more it gets, more infection there is, the more it grows, the stronger it gets. So that's what they're concerned about, and we'll see how it works out after the Christmas, because right now it's looking like things are not going well. For sure. It almost came at a good time that they made it to the Christmas break. Take some time off, get everybody off the COVID protocol, but who knows where they're going to go? What are the players going to do when they're gone? They're going to be with family, all that kind of stuff like that. Do they come back and there's more COVID cases, or I don't know. I don't have an answer for all of that. But is there? I guess the Pittsburgh game is canceled for tomorrow too. Now, Devils game postponed. Calvin DeHaan placed on COVID protocol. So I just finished my second Chikrin traded to teams video. I got. I thought I should have thought about Columbus. Maybe Columbus might have been in there too on Chikrin, but I did. LA looks like a really good chance for LA to be. But the thing is, it's interdivision. I don't know if that would matter to them. Do they want to strengthen that division, or do they want to send them out somewhere maybe east? But LA certainly has the assets to be able to pick up a guy like that. Who did I have? Florida. I think Florida would be on the phone. That would involve Gustav Forsling for sure. I really like Gustav Forsling. I had Forsling, Tippett, Owen Tippett, Gregory Denisenko, who really hasn't been ripping it up too much in the AHL. 9 points in 15 games. Not bad, but he's been around for a bit. How old is he? 21. As a 21-year-old, for a guy who's supposed to be putting up offense, those aren't great numbers, but that Cole Schwint guy, third overall 2019, he's got 19 points in 27 games. He had his first NHL game there last night, and I think he got a point too. Hey, how you doing? I think it could be that Arizona is using Chikrin as a pawn to find out what's out there, find out who's willing to give up their first, and just teams will do that too. They'll put out a guy, say, we're considering this, but I'm not so sure here, because if Chikrin really wanted to stay, I don't think they would float this out there. I think ultimately they really want to keep Chikrin. Now, they're never going to say that he asked to be traded, even if he did, because they'll respect his privacy in that way, which is good. You should. But I can't see why they would even consider it. And they've talked in discussions about it, and they didn't flat out deny it. So, I don't know. Yeah, I thought Toronto was the other one I put out there. I think it would have to take Nylander. I think they'd have to trade Nylander to get him. That's the thing. I think it would have to be. It might be able to be straight across for Nylander. I don't know about you, but he's a winger, but I'm really high on Nylander. I think Nylander still has offensive upside yet. I'm really high on him. So Dano is on protocol now too. Wow. Byfield hasn't been putting up the numbers in the AHL, Eugene. What's going on with that? Last I saw, I think he had like no points in 4 games or something like that. What's Clark Brandt doing? Wow. Brandt has 25 points in 21 great games for Barrie. He could end up being the best player in that draft, man. Yeah, 0 points in 4 games in the AHL. Not off to a rousing start. Okay. Yeah, Chikrin's upside looks pretty sick. He looks like a semi-late bloomer, but isn't really a late bloomer either. I mean, he played from the time he was 19 on a team that really isn't known for their developing of prospect skills, and put up 18 goals 2 years ago. Kalen Allison's hurt again. Wow. That kid just can't stay off the injured. Yeah, maybe he's just snake bitten a little bit or something. I'm not sure. I just noticed that. That's all. Yeah, I think Nylander would have to be it. Looking at everything, the other one would be I thought Sandin, but I mean Sandin's not going to be straight across. Toronto's first is not going to be all that enticing compared to other teams that are going to have their hat in the ring for him. So they don't really have all that many prospects. Amirov, Sandin, what else? Like not much else. I mean, Fogle could be part of the deal, I suppose, but I mean, you'd have to be a lot more than that. I in my first video, I did Edmonton because Jim Parsons from the Hockey Writers had one of his writers or whatever, insiders, said that Edmonton was the first one that seemed to be picking up the phone. But I mean, I think it's going to take Holloway or Broberg to start. Holloway or Broberg to start. And then Fogle, I guess, but I mean, kind of a throw-in. Holloway and a first. Depends on, it really depends on what Florida thinks of Holloway. He's been putting up some killer numbers in college. He looks like he might end up being a first-line center. So you got a first-line center, if you really believe he is, who's going to be on an ELC for a couple of years, eating it up in college. He could really... You may not... I think you probably still have to add because you know what Chychrun is for sure. But I'm not sure you have to add a lot. It really depends on what they think he is. One thing about Holloway is he's got a man's body, So he can chew up college. Like it's hard to. It's sort of like Byfield was hard to project because he was so big in junior that his size got him points right off the get-go. But that's not going to be the case in the NHL. Like same sort of thing. Chychrun? It's all an opinion, right? You're looking at. Oh yeah, I got Chychrun up here. So he's 23 years old. Here's the other thing: he's on an affordable contract till 2026. That's the other thing. But he's 23 now. He's not having the greatest year, but nobody is. I don't even look at this year. Last year, he had 18 goals in 41 games. I'm not sure what his shooting percentage is there. I doubt that's what he is. But the year before, he had 12. And that was at 22. At 21, he had 20, 19, 14. But at 18 years old, he played 68 games for the Arizona Coyotes and got 20 points. That's crazy good numbers for an 18-year-old. I think it's pretty fair to say that if you take into account that Arizona hasn't been the greatest team, period, for a while, that his upside is pretty grand. His upside is better than Riley, for sure, I would say. Yeah, I don't have the same opinion about Foegele. I think Fogel's stone hands. Foegele has stone hands to me. I think most people would project Foegele as a solid third liner or something like that. If maybe he figures out a way to score more, and you're right, but I mean, yeah, I've had various opinions about players. Some of them like that isn't really what most people project as, like not popular, and some of them have been bang on, and some of them have been like, nope. So you could be right. I mean, and if Arizona has a higher projection for Foegele than like maybe more your projection, maybe you're right. Maybe they can get away with, we don't know what other teams think of players in general. Totally. You can get an idea, but we don't know for sure. How many times have we seen a team be really high on a player and we go, what the heck? And then sometimes we're like, wow, where did they see that? Because he just does amazing. I should think about some of those. Somebody will come to my mind that did that. Like Stevenson in Vegas. I mean, I thought he was better than a fourth liner like Washington was playing him. But did I think he'd be a point-a-game player like that? No. But I remember reading articles where they were saying that they thought he could be a number one center. And I was like, really, really? It turns out he was, because that's what he's doing right now. So, and I've had players where I thought, you know what, that guy's going to be a lot better than they think, and it turns out to be true. And then I've had players where I've said, that guy's going to be better than they think, and I've been totally wrong. I don't know about that. I don't know. They said that what does this mean? That the first wave or first part of the rebuild is over. That doesn't really explain much, but to me that means that they feel their acquiring of assets and trading away veterans is over. And by getting Danault, that leads me to believe that that's the case. So, you're talking about the Yotes. Yeah, I've totally misread you there. Sorry, Eugene. Yeah, for sure. They're not worried about roster players now. But I mean, if you can get a guy like Nylander who's only 25 years old, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to bringing in roster players that are young and you can build your team around. Like 25 and under, the better, the younger, the better. But I like I said, I would think that Chychrun would be a guy that would be that guy, you know. But I think it's either he said he wants to be traded in the background, or he's just showing signs that losing is wearing on him too much, and they just realize that, you know what, he's probably is too strong a character to admit it or say it, but they are going, I think maybe this might be better for him if he moves to some place where they can. They might be making a good, not really even a team decision, just a good person decision, based on what they see, the way he's responding. He's probably getting very frustrated because he sounds like a guy who puts kind of the weight of the team on his shoulders, and a guy like that is, you know, losing can be really tough. So the losing might be hurting him. I think Buffalo maybe should have thought about that a little sooner with some players probably. But I mean, maybe you're right, Mercer. You're a good judge of. You're a really good judge of talent. So, you know, you could be right. I could be missing. Yeah, but at least, yeah. And that's the thing. Nylander's coming. That's a good point, Eugene. Like they got to look at where a guy like Nylander is coming from and what his character is like and all of those sort of things like that, you know, before they'd ever make that deal. Yeah, as far as I know, the Dallas game is still going. Have you heard differently, Whitechel? Yeah, he played not bad for sure. I thought Ottawa might get that one, but Philadelphia pulled it out. Ottawa's not an easy out. So it was a good win for them, especially with Jones in net. He played not bad. He's played better than he did in San Jose, that's for sure. I kind of wonder why. I mean, if you look at what Nabokov has done with guys in there, why it didn't click with Jones. That's what my main concern was. Is you got like a guy who's pretty much a goalie whisperer in Nabokov, and he couldn't get it out of Jones. Sam, phone off. How you doing? Yeah, Garrett Sparks, that was killer. Get a goal, get a win. It'd be really cool for Garrett Sparks to find a home. He's been plugging it down there in the minors for quite some time. Was it Toronto? Who else did he play for? Pretty sure Toronto. Who's starting goalies? I believe it's Ottinger. And I don't think Talbot is confirmed yet. It's probably Talbot, though. Oh, it's Talbot. Jake Ottinger and Talbot. Maybe that's why. Oh, you think the Wild are going to win big like that? Interesting, Sam. Oh, they struggled hard against Buffalo. They're going to have a bounce back. They haven't looked themselves the last little while. You added a bunch of Wild in fantasy? Okay. Why would you say that after you know the goaltenders, though? Because I think Audie is pretty darn good goaltender. No, they looked not bad their last game. They're on and off, on and off. But neither has the Wild looked good. So I think I'm probably the Wild. I have some stuff on that game. Yeah, I think I don't know. Yeah, they're not playing on Thursday. There's a lot of games not going on. You take Holtby. I like Ottinger better than Holtby myself. Just checking. See if there's any more stuff up here. The Arizona Coyotes have paid approximately $930K to the Glendale. So the Coyotes paid up their issue or whatever. Oh, Braden Point was back on the ice today for Tampa Bay, wearing a regular jersey. Wow, Braden Point could be back. I can't tell you that one, Sam. Sorry. Yeah, good. Well, good for Tampa. Good for Tampa. Looks like he's going to be ready after the break. So, and it looks like I think paid debt. I guess they paid off their debt, and they're going to get a new arena. I think this owner has to be lauded for what he's done. Like, he really could just say, I'm going to go somewhere else and not lose all the money. But he's going to lose a lot of money. Capitals tomorrow, I don't know. I didn't like the Capitals last game because they just have so many people out of the roster. I mean, look at what they have on their roster. They got nothing but kids. Are they getting someone back that I'm not aware of? They got guys that aren't ready on their roster, and they were winning without him, but you can only go so long. Lars Eller is your number one center with Daniel Sprong, and then Shiri, Protas, Hathaway. Like, that lineup looks terrible. Yeah, that would suck. Because you had them, they were up 2-0. I had LA plus 1.5. Tie's a possibility. I don't know about the Bears. I don't know. You got me on that one, bud. I don't have any NFL today, and that would have been the only game. I do have some basketball. We've been hitting 50. We're 15-5 in our last 20 on basketball. NCAA, we're 8-3. So bpalpicks.com, man. Check it out. Yeah, I was worried when they went down 2-0, but I really like the way LA's been playing. They've been McClellan has that team. I like what they're doing now. I understand what they're doing with Kaliev and Kupari. McClellan has always been a guy who everybody needs to learn how to play on the wall. And that doesn't mean you got to be a big banger or something like that, but you got to learn how to get the puck off the wall. You got to learn how to fight for battles, whether that be with a good stick, getting your body in a spot, anticipating fastest or whatever. If you're not able to do that, you won't play for McClellan. And we've seen it over and over again. A lot of guys get left, go somewhere else, and they'll put up some decent points. But I understand that. You build a system, pretty much any system is based on how you win battles, really. And the most battles you win are along the wall. So if you can't win a battle along the wall, somebody else is going to have to do it for you or make up for the fact that you can't. So if you can have all your players be able to win battles on the wall, whether that's with their skill level or size or, there's lots of ways to do that, or just plain anticipating so much faster than someone else, then you're going to be a good team. And you're going to be like a good example of that is the Pittsburgh Penguins. He struggled with Velarde. Velarde wasn't finding ways to win on the wall, I guess, as a center. And maybe that's the reason why they kept on playing. I don't know. I think Velarde, maybe it was this anticipation wasn't high enough. But I mean, McClellan's been like that. The Pittsburgh Penguins are like that. That's the reason why you can have a next man up success like they do, because they keep players, draft players, develop players based on how they can play along the wall, and the anticipation in the neutral zone. Of course, both of those are huge, but most of the battles come along the wall, because if you don't anticipate well in the neutral zone, you can get away with it if you can outwork or outplay somebody along the walls and the corners in your own end. And not everybody has the hockey IQ to be able to anticipate like some other players can in that way. But almost every player can find a way to be good along the wall, somewhat good along the wall. So I get it now. Yeah, I had the Penguins all day. Penguins all day yesterday. I took the Lightning. I took Vegas yesterday. I had Vegas, Penguins big play was my big play. LAPL, and I lost one. Oh, I had St. Louis puck line. That was the one I lost. If he's lazy on the board battles, he will not play. It doesn't even matter if you're a point-a-game player. If you're lazy on the board battles, you're not going to play. That's why I was surprised they got a Finneganov, because he was a guy that was never really a board player. Yeah, I thought they would at least PL that, but and he's injured all the time now too, right? So it's Finneganov can't seem to stay off the injury. But McClellan's a good coach, man. Like I remember a few years ago, it was quite a while ago. I did a top 10 for coaches in the NHL. And I think I had Trotz and Tortorella tied at the time. I should go back and look at who that was. But my number 4 or 5 was McClellan. And that was when he was in Edmonton. And Edmonton wasn't doing well, but I didn't believe that was any real fault of his own. In fact, a lot of players played a lot better under McClellan. But his work in San Jose and stuff like that, I think he's a great coach. I don't think it's enough, Mercer. I don't think that's enough. I don't think Sprong's going to move the needle much for Arizona. Eller's he's a little old. 2022 first will be a late first and then a second. I had everybody. All my trends were on the Capitals last night. There's a guy I talk to all the time. He's one of the best cappers I know for hockey. He was on the Caps, and I have a guy that sends me trend lines and stuff like that. That was all on the Caps. But I looked at it as, okay, those trends are based on Washington Capitals with the lineup that they usually had. But, I mean, that lineup, those kids have been playing quite a few games, and a lot. And they weren't used to playing NHL games that often. Protas and guys like that. And I thought they were going to pooch out a little bit. I didn't think I was going to be accurate to the point where they actually pooched out in the third. And in all honesty, I wasn't really all that accurate because Washington did kind of outplay them though. So there's some bounces and stuff like that. But that's the reason why I didn't take LA though. I took a puck line on them because the Capitals seem to be getting it done no matter what. I just thought this was the game where those young kids got to be starting to get tired. So, Caps, Lion, T-Bay, Bucks. Oh, you had parlay, you mean? I don't know much about football, but you're talking about the NFL Lions, Detroit Lions. Are you telling me that they're doing good enough this year that you're going to throw them in a parlay, or to cover the spread? Okay, maybe they're doing well enough that you're confident they'll cover a spread. Oh, okay. He lost Caps. He lost on the Lions. They're doing well enough they can cover a spread this year? Wow. So I don't follow football that much. All my football stuff is done on they ruined your parlays. All my football stuff is done on charts, stuff like that. NFL hasn't been my best this year, that's for sure. But basketball and NCAA basketball have been really good. I got to think of something to say now. We got with no hockey. Okay, let's look at the games tomorrow, I guess. We'll just take a peek at them and see how they look. Get some early leans, I guess. Capitals Flyers. I think the Flyers might be able to pull that one off. They're probably going to play Samsonov. Carter Hart should be in. I think pretty sure Philly struggles hard with the Capitals, though. If I remember correctly, their trend line isn't going to be good against the Capitals. Yeah? I don't know. That lineup is pretty depleted. I either fade or take Philly, I think. I don't want to roll dice on a depleted lineup like that. Philly played, where they beat Ottawa 4-3. They played with some spunk in that game. They have to, because if you don't, Ottawa will probably beat you. If no player sneezes tonight. Yeah. Devils game, Pittsburgh game is postponed. Seattle, Arizona. I think I'd take Seattle there, but I mean, Seattle doesn't get outworked. Arizona will beat team. Oh, we didn't even talk about that. We didn't even talk about that god-awful Anaheim game. My gosh. What a joke that was. Are you freaking kidding me? It's what happens with a young team, man. It's a young team. I'm sure Dallas Eakins was in his mind. He was like, yeah, I knew it. Young teams underestimate teams so much. And then when Arizona comes out and gives them a push, they act like they didn't expect it to happen. Like Arizona was just going to lie down and let you score all night or something. And then Gibson didn't have a good night. Who saw that coming? I actually should have thought that when they put Gibson in there, I should have thought that at that point he was looking at it as Gibson getting a game in so he can get his legs back again. Yeah, because it is a lighter competition, or it should be. But then the team itself coughed up the puck all over the place. Like they totally acted like they won the game before they got started. Yeah, 4-1. I kind of like Philly there. Yeah. I don't know what they're going to be getting. They're getting dog. I think if they're getting dog, you might as well go with it. Seattle's. I think they're giving up too much juice on Seattle though. Especially with the guys that they have out. If Grubauer is in net, I mean, he's been brutal this year. I'd rather see Drigger. They're not very good at defense. Maybe the over there, which I'm not even sure. They probably don't have it. Yeah. I'll find none of these are picks, by the way. I'm just kind of going over it. By tomorrow, I could change all of this stuff. Vegas, Tampa Bay. Vegas' first game back from a long road trip. But they're a team that generally doesn't get affected by that much. Four-game Eastern road trip. That's a tough one. I really like the way Vegas is playing right. Yeah, Drigger's been the better goaltender so far, though. Who's Dr. Peter McCullough? Excuse me if I don't know who that is. Let me look it up here. On COVID? Okay, what about him? Okay. Oh. Oh, so, okay, so Dr. McCullough says that you don't need the vaccination, probably? Can't really talk about that here, but I have my own things on it. The only way Tampa Bay wins is if Vasilevsky is a brick wall. I would agree with you, except for the fact that it's the first game back from a long road trip at Christmas time yet. So you're coming home. It just totally changes the energy. But the thing is with Vegas, they got guys like Stone and Pacioretty there that seem to be able to create that right energy in the room. That might be able to create their low right in if it wasn't for that, I'd be all over Vegas. I think what Tampa's out still going to be without point two, right? They're out a few players, right? Sorelli's in, Stamkos. Feels like a 3-2 game to me. Something like that. Vasilevsky Christmas is January 7th. Why do you say that? Okay, let's look at some players that'll be traded at the deadline. How's that? And where they may go. I did Montreal already. We never did figure out where Phil Kessel was going to go. Phil Kessel is a really good move for a team that I think the Boston Bruins. I think Phil Kessel goes to the Boston Bruins, but only for 1 year, because they wouldn't be able to handle his lifestyle. I don't think that would be the only thing that would prevent him. Just for rental, they got a little bit of cap space. They could give DeBrusque back, because like it doesn't appear that people are lining up for DeBrusque. Oh, Russians don't really celebrate Christmas. Oh. Really? Why wouldn't they celebrate Christmas? Are you sure about that? They have like a strong if they're religious, they probably do. They follow yeah, I can't think of it off the top of my head. But anyways, I'm gonna say Phil Kessel goes to the Boston Bruins. There's very few people in here, so you're probably not going to. Oh, you're Russian. Okay. But I mean, okay, did you have a religious background at all? Did you have a religious background at all? Russian Orthodox. You're telling me Russian Orthodox Church doesn't celebrate Christmas? The Russian Orthodox Church. I know most other Orthodox. You're not Russian Orthodox. Okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, what am I doing? Messenger. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's that's probably why there's not many things. There's not much really to talk about right now. Uh, let's say, you know what would be interesting if the Winnipeg Jets don't make it. But they're not ones to usually trade players that want to stay there, because it's hard to get people to live in Winnipeg. So probably they wouldn't. It's like Winnipeg for the trade deadline would be like the worst team not to make the playoffs. Wednesday, all games postponed. Avalanche versus Sabres. Yeah, Canadians, Rangers makes sense. Jets, Stars. Oh, yeah, all games. Because there's no Edmonton. There's no... you can't cross the border. Thursday, the Flyers, Penguins will be good. Capitals, Islanders should be good. We'll see. Stars, Blackhawks should be okay. Lightning, Coyotes should be okay. Stars, Black... Oh, wait. Are the Blackhawks out? Or are they still playing? I've lost track of who's still playing and who's not. Okay, the Blues, Maple Leafs, yeah, Avalanche, Bruins. Basically anyone where there's a Canadian team, Panthers, Predators. Yeah, not many games left. And we don't even know, like... Oh, Canada names the captains for the World Junior Championships. But Caden Goulet got the nod for captain for the World Junior Championships. Jake Neighbors and Cole Perfetti also alternate captains. Jake Neighbors, I love that guy. I think Jake Neighbors is going to be a really good one. Yeah, they're playing better defensively, but the last couple of games, like, they've been kind of going back to where they were before. It's their pushback. They don't really have much pushback on that team. They're playing too much back on their heels. I think they're trying to find that balance. And Fleury has been winning games for them left, right, and center. Honestly, I think right now, they look like they're pretty much out of it. If there's a way to trade Fleury now, I think would be a good idea. Just one sec. Yeah, I'm on my show now, okay, John. Ron. Yeah, it's all right. Okay. Bye. Dead silence? You can't hear me? Can you not hear me? I've been talking the whole time. Yeah, Fleury has been everything to them right now. They're riding Fleury hard, and the team's just not there. It's not going to be there this year. Oh, for World Juniors? Yeah. But I did can you hear me now? Can you hear, CL, can you hear me? I think they should trade Fleury now. I wouldn't even wait to the deadline, honestly. There's teams out there that are desperate for goaltending. It's just tough. The hard part about trading Fleury is, like, he doesn't deserve to keep getting moved around like that. The guy's a Hall of Famer, one of the nicest people you ever meet. Like, I think Chicago made a mistake doing what they were doing. I have a feeling, though, that they did that because Pittsburgh is going to pick him up. But it's almost like it's hard to pick Fleury up now that Jari's doing so well. But ultimately, that may be the case anyways. Ultimately, I think they'll end up trading him to Pittsburgh anyways. Because I think that was all part of the deal. Pittsburgh was trying to pick him up before. I think Pittsburgh was trying to pick him up from Vegas, but Vegas wouldn't retain any money. So Chicago chimed in and said, how about this? We'll take him, and if we're not in a cup position by the deadline, we'll promise to trade him to Pittsburgh when they have the money to do it. If that's the case, then no matter how good Jari is doing, they're going to trade. Pittsburgh is going to trade for him because they would have made that deal. I wouldn't doubt that they do that. I wouldn't doubt that at all. I think that's what's going to happen. So there's a player that I think will be traded. If he doesn't go there, I think it's just disrespectful to trade the guy to somewhere he doesn't want to go. He's already lost his family. He already threatened to retire because he went to Chicago. You know, you're going to, I don't think his family's even living in Chicago. And now you're going to move him somewhere else? Maybe if it's closer to Vegas, but where would that be? Then it would make some sense, like if it was closer to Vegas, if his family is still there. But honestly, I think it will eventually be Pittsburgh again. My nose is driving me crazy for some reason. The other one, okay. Oh yeah, Ray. What's Kane doing in the minors now? He should have played a couple of games by now. Vander Kane. Ah, there he goes. He's popped off now. 2 goals and 6 assists, 8 points in 5 games for the Barracuda for Kane. I have a feeling he's just gonna and he's only played 5 games. His first 3 games, I think he only got 1 point. So basically his last 2 games, he got 7 points. Take it easy, Pearlo. Oh, you're going to be heading out? Oh, that's too bad. His last 2 games, thanks for coming in, Sam Fonoff. It was awesome talking to you, my friend. Kane's last 2 games, he had 7 points. If he keeps on putting those kind of points up, somebody's going to trade for him. As long as his attitude shows a change. I mean, it's not even fair. The Barracuda could end up being the best team in the AHL because a guy had a gambling problem. I mean, he's going to crush down there. He's going to crush. I'm almost positive once he gets rolling, he'll be at a goal a game pace easy. So where could Kane go? Who would take a chance on Kane? I heard somebody say that Carolina would do it because they basically have shown that they're willing to, they're willing to take chances on people's characters a little bit with D'Angelo. And if Kane has turned himself around, they could offer Nino Niederreiter, who they forever look like. Nino Niederreiter is forever on the trade block, no matter where he goes. I don't know why that guy gets such a bad rap, but he forever is there. If they offered Nino Niederreiter right now, they could probably have Kane. And if Kane has changed his attitude and personality, which you can do after going to rehab, I've seen happen over and over and over again, and that works out well, you imagine what that would look like on that lineup? Holy crap. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Ron Crawford, one of the best cappers in the land right there. Ron Crawford right there, my friends. Guy's a legend. Absolute legend. Pretty light crowd today since all the hockey games are getting postponed, but we're still talking about a lot of trade stuff and stuff like that. Just one sec, Ron. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. All right. Sorry, I'm back. Okay. Anyways, Evander Kane. Carolina was a possibility. Like I said, they could get back Niederreiter. That would make sense. Niederreiter has had his own character issues. But if he keeps on going like this, they might even get more than that. I don't know. Lorne's not in here. I wonder what he would say if I even thought about the idea that he would have, that Kane would go to I wonder what he would say if I even thought about Kane going to Carolina. I bet you wouldn't like it. But I think the guy can change his life around. And if he shows it, he does. They may even keep him. If he really truly changes his life around and shows it like he's a completely different person than he ever was before, you never know. They may even keep him. The Boston Bruins would be another one, but I mean, they're not known as an organization that takes a risk on players with character. So I think that's unlikely that he would go there. Pretty unlikely that he would go there. But it would make sense on paper, but I mean, he'd really have to do like a complete turnaround for Boston to even think about a guy like Kane. And I think that might be like a downfall of Boston a little bit. In actuality, if he does do a turnaround and he does change his character, I think he'd be an excellent guy to have. Another guy, another team that has shown to really be able to give people a chance, especially after they've gone to get some help for themselves and stuff like that, is the Detroit Red Wings. I think the Detroit Red Wings would consider a guy like Kane if they really looked at, talking to the team, talking to his AHL team, and they're saying things like, "Oh my gosh, he has changed so much, and ever since he came back, he's a different guy, and he's staying out of the casinos and gambling and all of that." I mean, this was a guy that was completely miserable beforehand. And if you've ever known somebody that was a gambling addict, they're usually pretty miserable because you're always on edge. Either you're on the edge of whatever you bet, or you're on the edge of being broke, or both. And, and it's usually a lot of personality issues, like a lot of internal stuff that's causing someone to look for for something outside there. So I think he could change his whole life around. I think it's possible. I think Detroit would be in on something like that. They already showed it with Bobby Ryan. Bobby Ryan had his issues all right. He had his issues all right. Now, the thing about Bobby Ryan is, although he had issues like that, there was never anybody who said that Bobby Ryan was a problem in the room. There is a difference about that. Another guy was Perlini. Perlini had that. How to explain it? It is a rumor. It was believed that Perlini struggled with going out too much, let's put it that way. And Detroit gave him a shot there. He ended up moving on, but they did do it. Now, in Perlini's case, there was I think a few more issues in the room caused by his problem, but they gave him a shot. So I would say Detroit possibly. Detroit's a team too that is looking, I'm pretty sure this year, after seeing what they have in Raymond and, Villino, what's his name? Why do I always forget that freaking amazing defenseman that they have? Hronek is one, but that's not the one I'm thinking about. Hronek, Bertuzzi, and, of course, Moritz Seider, who looks like he could be Norris-level defenseman. I think it's getting a little hard on their fan base to do all this losing. I wouldn't doubt that they'd be looking to add in the summer here a little bit. So how you doing, Ron? I think it's just you and me right now. Are you still there? Who's still there? Hello? Who's still there? Whoever's there, let me know. Because we might as well talk about what you want to talk about if you're here. Nobody. It's the first time because we have no games on tonight. Hello, how are you doing? All it takes is a couple postponed games, and there's not too many people on. I was just talking about where Evander Kane may go because he's ripping up the AHL, and I think Detroit and Carolina would be two teams that would give him a shot. There may be more teams, all depending on his attitude. If his attitude is totally changed, watch out. San Jose may decide to keep him. Like, I've seen people come out of rehab and change their life so much. If he can build up trust there, San Jose might be like, all right, come back here. They bring him in with open arms. I think it's possible. I don't see why not, actually. They need a guy like that bad. They're not going to be able to rebuild anytime soon there, I don't think, still for a while. So it would be pretty foolish to give up on a guy now if he's changed things around. And the only way they're going to be able to trade him is if he can show that he turned himself around. Now, I guess if he only turned himself around a little bit, maybe then it's a little different. Like, maybe it's not like this complete turnaround. He still has kind of an arrogance about him, but he's not gambling anymore. And, that sort of thing like that, then maybe they're like, you know what, I still don't want to bring him back, but I'm glad he's doing better. And another team out there would be like, we can handle an arrogant 30-goal scorer on our roster. We'll give him a shot, see how it works out. As long as he's not going into casinos anymore and stuff like that, then I could see them trading him and going, and teams that, I wonder if, I don't think the Lamoriello would do a deal like that. The only way Lamoriello would make that deal is if the guy had a complete turnaround. However, they did give, in fact, there was that big thing on it for, why is his name escaping me? What's wrong with me in names today? Lehner. They did give Lehner a pretty good opportunity there. And Lehner had a lot of difficulties in Buffalo. Not with his attitude, personality, and stuff like that. He lost it on some players and all that kind of stuff like that. And they brought him in, helped him out so much so that the last game that Vegas played the Islanders, they had a celebration for him. And he actually said beforehand that he still had a huge heart for that organization for everything that they've done. So I should do a video on this, actually. I'm going to do a video on teams that would take Evander Kane. That's going to be my next video. I just did a video. I think that's my last video on Chychrun. I think my next video is going to be teams that would take Evander Kane. Now, so maybe if he shows a significant turnaround in the minors there, I mean, the Islanders need a shooter like that all day long and somebody that can play with some creativity for Barzal. it's possible, especially since they really, I mean, they could lose a guy like Bailey. I think San Jose, who there's not going to be a lineup of people, I don't think, unless he really turns his life around for Kane. So they might not have to give up all that much, and I'm sure they could do a player for player type deal where the cap space works and stuff like that. So the Islanders, Detroit, and Carolina would be the three places I would say that. Well, maybe there's more than that. Let me think. That's three places. You never know with Vegas. Vegas could do it. I mean, they're so unpredictable. It's unbelievable. The Columbus Blue Jackets would really love a guy like that, but I don't really have a read on the risk that they would take for a guy like that. But I would put him in there. They need any guy they can get there. They need shooters hardcore there. Mostly centers, but I may chop this off early. Are you still there, CL? Oh yeah, probably. Somebody's still there. Tell me who you are. You being background? I'm being background listening for people. Anyways, Columbus. Yeah, I got a feeling Columbus would do that. I don't know. They just had difficult problems in the room. Energy problems in the room after everything that happened with Panarin and all that. So, less likely, I would say. I doubt the Ottawa Senators. I for some reason, I don't know if Ron Francis would take a chance on a guy like that in Seattle. No way, Minnesota. I don't see Minnesota. A guy that needs him more than anybody would be the Philadelphia Flyers. But would they be willing to take a chance like that? Because they could send back Van Riemsdyk. And Van Riemsdyk could get a chance to play in a different environment. He was their leading scorer last year. He's not having great numbers this year. But that would be a player-for-player trade. And, gosh, I mean, if he pans out, you got Farabee, Couturier, Konechny, and, a 30-goal scoring Kane getting dishes from Giroux and between Giroux between him and Atkinson. That'd be pretty cool. CL, are you there? What do you think? Evander Kane. If he just turns his life around a little bit, and he's not like a complete nuisance in the room. The problem is what I've heard is from a lot of people is that the problem in Philadelphia, a lot of it is the leadership in the room, which you can kind of make sense because how many coaches do you have to go through before you start wondering what about the leadership in that room, right? Coach. Hey, whoever's there. Welcome. I was just discussing pretty much to myself where Evander Kane may go. So far, I've got Philadelphia possible, Columbus, Detroit, and Carolina. And the main reason why I have Carolina and Detroit is because they've taken chances on players like that before. Especially if he shows some signs of, being a team player in the AHL and changing around his attitude a little bit. I could see those two. I could actually see a lot of teams if he is. And the reason why I brought it up is he's crushing it in the AHL right now. His last 2 games, Evander Kane has got 7 points. Yeah, it would really depend on how much he turned things around. But honestly, I don't know. The locker room is... But why? What was the problem, do you think, CL, in Philadelphia? What was the problem, do you think, in Philadelphia there? Like, I can't put my finger on what they did to change. Was it Voracek, really? Voracek had a grind, like sometimes looked like he was a little off. Was Voracek the main issue there? Did Voracek kind of have an attitude there? I know he said some weird things in Columbus, being complacent and not having a direction. I know, but there's been several coaches there. Was it all the coach's fault, or was there a veteran leadership attitude there of that? And I would have, going by who they, like, okay, going by, I don't know. Van Riemsdyk, look at their leadership there. Is Van Riemsdyk have an issue that way? That, he's kind of like, yeah, whatever. The media was never too high on him. Yeah, he said some things that were pretty standoffish. Like, he sounded like he kind of was... Sometimes he sounded like he was kind of an emotional basket case. And maybe that was part of the problem there. And look what's happening in Columbus now. They started out well, but they're really starting to look like things are working out there. And I know with Atkinson that there was never a question about Atkinson's attitude in Columbus. But the last year, it seems... not his attitude, but his fervor to be there was dying. And they had to move on from him. Now, everything I've heard from other players about Voracek was good, though. But sometimes I think he comes off as fairly sarcastic. And maybe he was like that. I don't know. No, I didn't see Marc-Andre Fleury's new helmet reveal. Did it have the Pittsburgh Penguins colors on it? Oh, indigenously designed goalie mask. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, pretty cool. Wow. I'm waiting for the ad to go through. Oh, yes, because he's celebrating all the teams that he played for. It was said that he was wasn't great towards new or young players. Something was amiss there for sure. And I mean, early on, you could say that it wasn't Voracek because they weren't playing well still. But they have been playing better now. Yeah, I'm taking a look at it now. Where is that now? Okay, they're just going to keep on showing the camera. Okay, that's the Indigenous one. So that's not the one that he was... That's not the one. Oh, yeah, here it is. No, that's not it either. Huh. So are you talking about with the Indigenous one? Elliot, how you doing? NHL is not going to get canceled. Where are you hearing that NHL is going to get canceled? They won't cancel it. They'll probably play with no fans or something, yeah. But they're not going to cancel it. Of course, I haven't heard anything else yet. Okay, that's the one. Yeah, that was pretty cool. His wife is Indigenous by descent. Oh, that was 1920, so it's not now. Okay. I haven't heard anything about that happening at the moment. So I don't know where are you guys hearing that they're going to cancel the season, or are you just guessing? No, I don't think it's going to be canceled. No, I don't think the season's going to be canceled. Probably with no fans or something. I had to look it up here right away. I thought you were telling me some information I didn't hear of already, but no. They'll do. I mean, they're going to cancel. They're obviously postponing games and stuff like that, but yeah, I like the Wild tonight too. I'll give you that. I got other stuff on that game, but I like the Wild. Is that what you're listening to right now? But the league's going to do everything they can, unless it gets so bad that, yeah, obviously, Bruce Springsteen, yes. Unless it gets so bad that, it was like it was before, where it starts, the spread starts getting severe and people are hospitalized and stuff like that. I don't see that happening. Then there'll be lockdowns anyways. It'll all be back the way it was before. You're listening to it right now? Okay. Oh, yeah, Springsteen's got some great stuff. I have a Facebook group called the All Genres Music Group, if you guys want to check that out. The All... The All Genres Music Group. if you go check that out, that's we have themes every day. You can put your favorite tunes on there and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. What do you mean, Mother Russia? Soccer or what? Or are you talking about that? I don't know. But no end of the season so far. Well, it might have something to do with his contract. Hockey, okay. Oh, is that the Spangler? Is the Spangler going right now? Is that the Spangler or that one before the Spangler or something like that? It could be contract stuff. They don't need to right now. He doesn't, he might have a contract already that he can't come over. What's his numbers looking like? He's 25 now, though, eh? Oh, yeah. Oh, 2000. Well, yeah, he's got some pretty killer numbers there. I would guess it's contract stuff. He probably doesn't want to play in the AHL at all. So if he's got a contract that doesn't have an out clause in it, he's contractually obligated to stay there. I think they gave Varlamov a contract that coincided with Fedotov, and they're not going to re-sign Varlamov again. That's my lean. He's 25 years old now. Fedotov. He's putting up Sorokin-like numbers in Russia, so they're probably going to give him every chance. My guess is that his contract is up at the end of the year. And isn't Varlamov's contract up? No, Varlamov is, what am I talking about? That's the Islanders. Jones. Didn't they just give Jones a 1 year? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they just gave Jones a 1 year contract. So that's what I mean to say. So next year, they'll probably give him every opportunity to make it. That was what happened. The reason why I was thinking of Sorokin is because that's what he did. He had KHL contracts developed. All of his development was in the KHL. And he didn't come over till he was about the same age as Fedotov. So I'm guessing that's what it is. The KHL there are now convincing players that they will be better developed if they stay in the KHL. They're trying to set themselves up as a development league for the NHL right now. So they're convincing players to stay till they're 24 and 25. And when you see guys like Kaprizov come over and crush it like he did, that's why. So their idea is, though, hey, Oilers, man, how you doing, my friend? Thanks for coming in. The idea is, at least from the KHL's perspective, is that if you go over to Canada, you're not going to get the respect there. You're going to have to beat out. You're going to have to beat out the American or Canadian player to get ice time and stuff like that. Unless you're like already Kaprizov level, and then you'll go over there and you won't have to worry about that because you are going to beat them out. So what they say is that it's more difficult for a player's development in North America because the North Americans are going to prefer the North American player over the KHL player, all things being equal or maybe even not so equal. So they won't get the same development here as where if they go to the KHL, they're not going to have to worry about preferential treatment because they're from Russia or Europe or what have you. There could be some truth to that, I suppose. I mean, like I said, it worked for Kaprizov. It looks like it worked for Sorokin. If they can keep on having the players come over here and it works, then they'll probably keep on doing it because they're certainly making more money over at the KHL level. So they're making more than they would if they were in junior or the AHL at the KHL in the KHL. So financially, it's a better move for them. So if they can convince them that it's as good, if not better, to stay in the KHL before you go to the NHL, which it looks like they've done with a few players now, maybe Fedotov as well, then they're going to have their players there longer, and more players are going to stay there, and that league's going to get stronger. And if that league gets stronger, they're going to be able to play their players more, and who knows, right? So, I mean, I don't think they'll ever supplant the NHL, but what? Oilers, man, no offense. The Oilers' defense sucks. No doubt about that. Not a very good defense at all. Been talking about that for a while, yeah. It may not totally matter, though. At least in the regular season, anyways. But if they lose a couple of guys again, as you can tell, if they lose guys, they're screwed. They can't. Their replacement players are not very good. And the players they have in there are not very good. Like Keith and Barry. I mean, Nurse is a good offensive defenseman, but he's not $9.5 million good, and he's not that good defensively. Especially one-on-one. If you've been watching Oilers games, you go down on Nurse one-on-one, people fly by him all the time. All the time. I think they'll likely make the playoffs still. Pacific is too weak. You don't think they're going to make the playoffs? I think the Pacific is too weak. I think they would have trouble if they were in the Metro or something like that, but I think they're okay in the Pacific Division. I think they're okay. The way I've watched them play defense, though, you may be right. They may not. And they still got Smith to come back. Carolina and Vegas right now are my favorites. But it's not just their depth, it's their team system is insane. They play a hybrid system that's pretty amazing. They can play it any way you want to play it. They can play a trap. They can play an offensive system. They can play so many different ways. CL, we haven't. This has got to be the first day we haven't seen Lauren all day. It's got to be the first time we haven't seen Lauren all day long. Oh, yeah, Carolina. Brindamore's a genius, man. I think they gave him the coach of the year last year because that team is going to be so good that he won't be able to get coach of the year after that. And I really thought Q should have got it last year, but I don't know where Lauren is. This is the first time I've ever been on here and Lauren hasn't showed up. I'm pretty sure it's the first time. You're worried, yeah. I don't know. Maybe he'll sneak in here in the next little while, but yeah. I don't know. Last time I was having a conversation with him, I was talking about Carolina having a hybrid type system, and he was like, no, the same system. They play the same system all the time and stuff like that. But I doubt very much Lauren would not come on just because I disagreed with him on something. Not that type of dude. SOS. Yeah, it's just odd. No, I don't think because Whitechell came on for a bit. Mercer was in for a little bit, but who wasn't? Oh yeah. Swerve was in for a bit. There's a couple people, but because there's not many games. Smudge Man. Where do you get Smudge Man from? Oilers Man? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, it's been so slow today. I think I'm going to put it out early, Elliot. I think I'm going to cut out early, take an early day. We got more games tomorrow. We got more games tomorrow. I think Oilers Man is gone. It's just you and me right now. Maybe CL. That's it. So I think I'm going to fade out. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. That's my full 42. See you, Elliot. Thanks for coming on. Have a great day, everybody. Okay, bye.